There it goes. Okay, awesome. So, hello everyone. I'm Heather from Prosperity Flow Coaching, and this is the Yahoo Back to Me podcast. Today, I'm having my celebrity chat. I'm calling them celebrity chats now. So, once a month, I'm going to chat with an amazing celebrity who you probably haven't heard of yet, but now you will have heard of them. And today we're going to be talking to Nasreen from the Japan Reiki Studio, and we're going to talk about energy and wellness. And I like the why you should take care of yourself first. I think obviously my thing is called Back to Me, so obviously I think that's important. And I'm just going to remind everybody of the Wednesday Wellness Your Way, that little quick Wednesday afternoon at 2 o'clock Eastern, where I just pop in and I give you your tip of the week. And this week I'm going to talk about, let me check. No one can do this for you. Da, da, da. No, it'll be lighter than that. But so Nasreen, welcome. So good to see you.
Wonderful to be here, and I am so
Right?
excited.
Let's raise that energy up. Woo,
Yeah.
woo, woo.
Ooh.
I found it super interesting how you got into, well, first, how about a little brief? I mean, I said who you
Oh,
were, but
yeah.
a little brief, like, who are you, Nasreen? My
Um,
latest celebrity.
I love that. I love that this is just celebrity chat. Yes, yes, everyone. Here is Nasreen. Boost my ego.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Pom, pom. Everybody can use it.
I know, because it's a ripple effect. The energy is a ripple effect. So yeah, I am Nasreen. I am I am Nasreen. Well, I am, my title is Reiki Master Teacher. I teach Reiki. That's my main thing. But I think more important is that I'm actually a skeptic turned believer.
Oh,
So,
that's
yeah.
cool.
I didn't always, feel the energy or understood. I loved horoscopes. I loved, like checking in the newspaper, oh, what's my horoscope going to
Right.
be? And I believed in all that stuff. But it just was that that's from my mom. My mom's the intuitive one in the family. So, my mom can do all that stuff. It's not for me.
Right, right.
Yeah. And then one day I felt it. I felt the energy.
And what were you doing? Like, how did it just like come like a bolt of lightning or?
Yeah, I can't actually remember exactly, but yes, it was our I was going on a Reiki tour, a goodwill tour with Japan Reiki Association. I was their interpreter. So, and we had like this huge Reiki circle where half of the people were Reiki practitioners, half were not. But so everybody was flowing energy, and I was in the center with my would-be teacher, interpreting for her. And right, when you're in the center of a
Right.
circle, that's where all the energy comes. So that's when it happened. And I'm
Wow.
like, oh my gosh, this is what everybody's talking about.
They unlocked you.
Yeah, it was actually really like a switch went on. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like how people say light bulb moment, right? It
Yeah.
was really like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
What can you describe what it felt like?
That's the thing. I can only like remember that's I
Right.
can't really use words.
I know, I know. I
It's
know
very
what you
difficult,
mean.
right?
Yeah, it's
So
funny when it's like trying to describe something that's so different,
yeah.
that has like it's doesn't have a language to it, right?
No, it doesn't.
And were
And
you
it's
in Japan? You were in Japan.
No,
Oh,
it was to India from Japan. We
oh,
had
oh,
traveled to India,
okay.
and we were actually in a village where, like medical help was not easily accessible. So we thought, let's go and introduce Reiki energy, and maybe if anybody is interested in receiving some healing, we can do that. So that was the goal, and I was just there as an interpreter.
Ah, I'm just here with the band, right?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah,
That's awesome. But
yeah.
so then so once you felt it, I guess you can't go back, right? You're like, right. I can't
No.
unknow that now.
Exactly. And so before that, every time the president of the Japan Wiki Association would kind of ask me, because I've also translated the textbooks. So she
Oh.
would like ask me, "So are you ready to learn?" I'm like, "No, I'm good, but I'll translate all the books you want and do interpretation for you, but don't ask me to learn." And then after this, when she asked me, I'm like, "Yeah, come on. I mean, it's a given now."
Stubborn,
Yeah.
stubborn. It had to be really like, "No, we mean it." And how long ago was that?
Uh, Actually, 11 years ago, I just had a memory pop up on Facebook of that very incident of the picture. So I just shared that today,
Oh,
and
wow,
it was
amazing.
11 years ago. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I guess then you just started did you start working right away, or did you like, you started learning and working with your mom? I know your mom does it too, right?
Yeah. No, I began learning. I kind of, so I had the theory because I had translated the book. So, right.
Right.
Yeah, I knew it in my head what it was supposed to be like.
Right, right,
And my mom had made me a guinea pig and done like attunements and stuff. So, like, I guess technically I had it in me, but then I felt like I had to do it again
right.
from the beginning,
I
obviously.
guess
So,
if you had the attunement, you were already primed. You were just ignoring. You were
exactly.
ignoring it.
Yes. Yes.
I
So
remember when
then,
I had my attunement, um, it might have been my second attunement that, um, when she was, because I had my eyes closed, as soon as she did it, suddenly I was saw colors, which I was like, "What is that? That's so strange," right?
yeah,
Not things that I didn't expect. That's one way thing I can describe. I can describe now there was colors with my eyes shut.
yeah,
So, but that's and I so now you just teach it, or do you treat as well?
I do both. My
Do
focus
you?
is more on teaching, but of course, as a continuous, it's fun to meet different people and to be able to help in that way as well, because not everybody is ready right away to learn like me, right?
Yes. So
Sometimes
you
you
work with
need
the
to,
skeptics.
yeah, yeah, of course. You need to raise your energy level to a certain level to be able to help yourself, right?
Right.
When you say like back to me, and I say wellness is within.
Right, right. Same, same.
Yeah, right. So, but then it's also important to seek help. Just because you say everything is within doesn't mean that all the time you have to always look inside. You have to recognize at certain points that I need outside help.
Right.
And so that's the part. Yeah.
So, and that's, I mean, I had a conversation at one point a few months ago with an individual who was talking about community, how important community is, and
Yes.
using because and someone just this morning I was talking to was talking about how the research now shows that um, the like disease is much higher when you're isolated. Like it's much harder to recover from when you're isolated, and we're stuck in this situation now where people are getting sick and people want to help them, but we're blocked from helping
Yeah.
them. I mean, I had a friend just today who I just found out this morning is in the hospital, and I can't go see her to give her any support. It's just very frustrating. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, nothing I think replaces being in person, but I guess we can do distance Reiki,
Yes, of
which
course.
I guess, do you have a lot of people who come to you for that?
Yes, occasionally, and usually when people come in for like a healing program,
Right.
distance is part of that program. Sometimes it's very intentional. Sometimes it's just on, like an emergency distance.
You know what just popped into my head?
Hmm.
We should tell people what Reiki is.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
I'm like, "La, la, 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 la." Oh, wait, maybe not everybody knows what Reiki is. Uh,
Yes.
Shh. Okay, that's on
Yeah.
me. You go.
No, no. Okay. So, but you know what? Like these days, when I say the word Reiki, I'm so grateful that people at least recognize the word versus 10 years ago when I became a teacher and came back to Canada, I would say Reiki, like, what? What are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
right? So, and I think the situation that we have been in the past 2 years has like opened up this realm of wellness and uh, being aware of your own body and stuff like that. So again, it's really, really opened up so much more. So yes, what Reiki is.
The time that we've had to spend time home alone,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it has given people the opportunity to tune in. Well,
Yes.
this they may not have taken it, they might have gone to the world of online gaming or something to avoid it, but, um, it's I will just tell people, if you don't pay attention, at some point, the universe is gonna force it upon you to sit with yourself,
Yes, that is
right?
very true.
Yeah, and it's funny
Yeah.
because I am someone who I feel like I'm self-aware and I do my yoga practice and I take care of myself. But apparently I wasn't listening close enough to one of the messages because I spent 4 days in hospital and I couldn't look at my phone because it had physically disabled my ability to look at screens. I'm like, and nobody could visit me, which was hard. That's hard,
Mm-hmm.
but I learned many lessons in there, and, I actually did Reiki on myself when I was in the hospital. It's like, I gotta boost
Yes.
myself up because I need something. I need some love in here.
Yeah.
And do you so are your courses, in person these days? Are they online? It's like
I have to do so. I'm going to go back and explain Reiki first.
oh, yeah, sorry.
Yes. Sorry, I
Where's
digressed,
Heather?
right?
By the way, I'm easily distracted by thoughts, so you can help keep me on track here. Let's talk about Reiki.
Yes. Just so Reiki is it's a Japanese word to mean energy of the universe. Energy of the universe means it's around us. Every living being needs this energy to sustain. So within us, it's called the life force energy. And we've known this energy for many, many years, and different cultures have different names. So in Japan, it's called Reiki. In China, it's Chi. In Hawaii, it's Mana. In India, it's Prana, right?
Right,
And I'm sure like different cultures will have a specific word to mean this energy of the universe that's
right.
within us.
Well, in Star Wars, they call it the Force.
Yes, yes, why not?
Why not throw that in there? But it's
Of course.
interesting because I teach yoga, right? So prana, I talk about prana all the time,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
teach tai chi. I talk about chi,
Oh,
chi, 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 chi,
that's
and
exactly what it is.
I never put them all together before for some reason in my head,
So that's why dot dot dot.
right? Etcetera.
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool. And go ahead.
Oh, okay, so now life force energy again, if it doesn't, click in your head what that life force energy is, it's really this energy that you have right now. And so compared to right now, when you're sad, you probably go like, oh my gosh, and then you're like really not feeling good and you want to just curl up in the sofa.
You're disappearing down under the
Yeah,
screen
yeah,
and
exactly. So that's one end of the down energy, but that's Reiki. And then on the other hand, you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do today? I have so much energy. Where are we going, Heather? That's the other spectrum.
So,
Yeah.
it just is, right? And I
Yes.
guess it's like turning the volume up and down. Is that do you think that does that feel accurate?
It's more trying to fill your energy cup because as we live, we deplete, we use the energy, and we have to replenish, right?
Right,
So if you're able to sleep properly, I would think we'd be able to replenish that energy well. But with this day and age, somehow with all the distractions, our energy cup just always seems to be depleting, 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 and we're not able to really effectively fill it and allow it to overflow. So
right.
the practice of Reiki makes that really easy because all you really have to do is tap in to the energy from around us and then bring it in and then fill that energy cup.
So I don't have to sleep?
Of course not. You
Trick
have to
question.
sleep. Come on. It's holistic.
Right.
Reiki is the basics which guides you to all the other things that you need.
So, for people who aren't Reiki practitioners, to fill their cup, I guess, do you teach them how to, or do you give them, or do they, does it have to be mediated by a practitioner? What do you think?
So yes, people. So because I said this is a life force energy, everybody essentially has it, and innately we know how to replenish that energy cup of ours. But just that Reiki practice makes it really efficient. So if you're not a practitioner, then it has to be. I forget the word you used. I have to help you. Reiki practitioner has to do a
Mediated, I
session.
should maybe.
Mediated, yes,
Yes.
mediated. um, but so if you want to be able to do it, then you learn Reiki, which is again really simple, and anyone can do it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is so gentle as well, right? Um,
Yes. Yes.
I do I do also do cranial sacral therapy. So, but the energies feel slightly different. I'm not sure
Okay.
why, but I mean, none of them are very intrusive, really. And
Yeah.
so I was just looking at what you said to me earlier, the lush green earth. So
That.
when people are so because we don't have those energy bars, you know how on video games there's a little energy bar to say when your
Yeah.
life force is going down? It's like, "Man, I could use one of those." I've actually done meditations where you visualized your energy bar, and
Oh.
you can tune into if you can,
Mhm.
you intuitively check and see, "Where's my energy bar?" And I can remember going, "Oh my god." I'm gonna die. How many more lives do I have left?" I needed to recharge my energy bar. So,
Wow.
um I guess, do you find that people become better at it as they practice it? Or, like, I'm trying to think of, like, if someone was like, "I wanna try this.
Mhm.
I wanna fill my cup. I want to not always have to go to a practitioner to help me." Like, how long do you
Yes.
think it takes people to kind of feel I know you were resisting it.
Yeah.
That's why you didn't feel it, but how do you
It
feel about how long it takes?
I think it's also how, you know, the practitioner is able to explain to you, because it's often not during the session that you have to feel. It's often after the session what happens is more important.
Can you explain that?
So I have clients come in, and now I have more clients who actually feel the energy and like really like, oh my gosh, I never felt that in first session. You feel so much. How is that? So, but that's a side note. I have clients who come in sometimes and they just feel like I had a really great nap. Thank you. But that means I feel like I've done a really good job. So to those clients, I say, now, when you go back home, see how you feel, because yesterday or on a daily basis, by the time it's 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, you feel depleted and you feel like sitting on the couch and maybe, not really moving. But today, see what happens.
Right,
Today, probably you will not be sitting on the couch at 5, 6 o'clock. You'll probably be on the move, or at night, see how you sleep, and in the morning, how refreshed you wake up. So
right,
things like that.
right, and I guess unless if they weren't looking for it, they just might not even realize that there was something different, right?
Yes, that's right, because it's so subtle, it's energy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I, I was treating a gentleman for a little while who's a anesthesiologist. Talking about sleeping.
Ah, yeah.
People will sleep through an I because 'cause I've still practiced massage therapy. People will sleep through an entire massage, and I'm like, "I could
Really?
you coulda just laid there and I coulda left and you would never have known." But I know that I'm making an effect, on them as they're sleeping. But this gentleman, he was because I was doing specifically cranial sacral on him, and I
Mhm.
mean, Reiki's coming at the same time.
Yeah.
And he made a comment because there's not you do in the traditional sense, there's not very much happening. On the surface, you can't see anything happening, right? You
Mhm.
can't see energy and movement. And he made a comment, he said, "I can't really tell my colleagues that I'm getting this done and how well it works because they wouldn't believe me." And I said, first of all, of course you should tell them
Yeah.
because they need to know. And second of all, I said, our traditional medicine, which don't get me wrong, I love our traditional
Mhm.
medicine because it's saving lives and it saved me from further things that were going on with me. But I said their solution is always a big hammer. And
Mhm.
sometimes you don't need a big hammer. The nervous system is so subtle. Like the fact that you can feel a hair, whoops,
Yeah.
a hair just brushing across your skin. The nervous system is so sensitive, but our solutions are always a bit over the top.
Mhm.
So I feel like Reiki and things fall into that. We think it's kind of woo woo and out there, but I think it's just so subtle that we don't give it credit that we are, you know, we are electronic devices. Like we have
Mhm.
energy flowing through our body. There's energy everywhere in the universe. And I mean, we can turn a potato into a light bulb. Like we can light a light bulb with a
Yes.
potato. So obviously there's energy everywhere, right? Uh,
Right.
Yeah. So I just find it people who are skeptical maybe want almost all of the scientific explanation, and we don't have it yet. But
Yeah, but don't you find that these days, actually, I feel like my mind is, changing. Maybe 10 years ago, I thought science is science.
yeah.
I mean, it's perfect, it's 100%. But today, I think I feel like science is really an art, and art is more the science,
Tell me,
right?
what do you mean? To explain that some more. I think I'm
Like,
getting you, but I want more.
yeah.
More, more, more.
So, like intuition, I think the decisions that I make through my intuition is more right, 100% correct, or for me, versus if I had come to certain conclusion through logic and like a process of logic,
Right.
there could be a margin of error here and there. I can't think of a sorry example, but
It'll come to you in a minute.
yeah.
The intuition side, it's interesting. I was reading, and it was actually a fictional novel recently,
Mhm.
and he was talking about intuition, but from the point of view is we think intuition is like some magical force that comes, but often it's just like you have an accumulation of memory that you don't even isn't even conscious, that feeds how you look at something. So when you look at something the first time, our brains are so fast. It filters all that and says, "Oh my gosh, that's this." And you just intuitively know that.
Mhm.
But it's not necessarily coming from some weird,
Yes.
cosmic being. It's just, although Akashic records I think are pretty cool, but it's more like our minds are so vast, like the
Yes.
TARDIS, like they're bigger, they're so big, and they can process so much. They process it so fast, and they give us the answer, and we think it was a stroke of brilliance. And it's, even it could have come from memories, from genetic memories, right? Who knows even
Yes.
where it comes from? But I just find it so interesting that it is like a science, but it's also an art,
Yeah. Like
right?
it's because our brain is, like you said, it's so vast and beautiful, and there's still so much unknown. Because of that unknown factor, we just attribute it to something out
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
right?
Not to
But it's
diminish it in any way, because I still
no.
think it's amazing and
Yeah.
miraculous. I mean, um, I had where are we now? We are the 17th of December? What?
Oh.
How did that happen? I'm just
I
looking at my
know.
calendar. So I think I'm 7 weeks now since I had a stroke. And let me tell you, you you realize how complicated the brain is when one part of it gets a little
Mhm.
knock. Even people with concussion, like I have a new appreciation for people who have concussions and head injuries, because it's just so intricate and interesting. And um, I still have some effects from it, but it's so
Mhm.
interesting to watch my brain change itself. So I can tell every day that it has done something new. It has decided, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do this. And when it first happened, because I had double vision, my
Mhm.
first thought was, "How am I gonna go through life looking at 2 of everything?" Because I couldn't even put toothpaste on my toothbrush because I couldn't see where the toothbrush was.
Mhm.
I missed entirely, like, I just put it on the wrong toothbrush.
Mhm.
But, and this was a thought going through my head, and my brain was like, "Ah, I got this." I've within 12 hours, my vision had corrected, and I could see properly again.
Mhm.
I'm like, "How did you do that?" I don't even like, I still it's just so amazing, and, like, it's so complex and intricate, and
Mhm.
in many ways very delicate. Like,
Yes.
don't don't shake your head like a snow globe. But kids kids,
Yes.
no head banging. Don't shake your head like a
Exactly.
snow globe. It'll cause long-term damage. But it's also so resilient,
Yes.
and it can do so many things. And rightly or wrongly, we are entirely pr our brains, if your brain isn't working, it's almost like you're not really there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though you have a body, that's not to say that your body isn't you as well. I don't know if I'm expressing this very well in the way that I intend, but, um, like, people with dementia, it's almost like they're not there anymore, right?
Mhm.
And, um, when your brain dies, scientifically, you're declared,
Mhm.
deceased, because this is where the seat of consciousness sits, I guess. I always thought it sat lower. What do you think? Where do you think consciousness sits? always thought it was lower.
Oh my gosh. I
Hard
don't know.
question, I know.
I haven't really thought about it, but a lot of things these days about the brain and the heart and stuff, scientifically discovered, but then we always put our hands on our heart, kind of, right?
And
So,
bellies too, right?
yeah, and yeah, bellies too, of course.
Yeah.
So, for me, I feel like it's kind of fluid. Um, and it doesn't really have obviously it doesn't have it's not an organ, it's not, it there's no physical form, it's energy, so, or, you know, yeah. So yeah,
Maybe
if
it's
you
like a
mhm.
little puffy cloud and it can just float around.
I think so. I think I would want to think it that way, that
Yeah,
it's, goes, like, I can, from my head to my heart to, sometimes, and that's the reason, don't you think, sometimes you feel like I'm floating in the air and I need to ground and come down,
right, right.
versus I'm too much down and maybe I need to just lift up a little
Lift,
bit.
yeah.
And
That's a good point, yeah.
mhm.
So what kinds of things do you think would be helpful for people to practice to help them? Kind of when they're feeling that I'm switching gears a little bit. I was
Yeah.
just thinking about people right now, um, feeling like they want something practical to help them. I can talk about where I think the brain lives, but um, people are suffering, and
Yeah.
not everyone is, but um, we're all affected regardless by
Yeah.
everything that's happening. Even if everything is going okay for you, there's going to be an impact. And some days are going to feel crappy, and we're going into winter, like the shortest day is coming. It's so
Hmm.
dark in the morning right now. So
Yeah.
sometimes we're affected by the light. So how can you kind of light yourself? Do you have things that you give people to help them, or besides a
First,
treatment? But
yeah, the first step I think is always the breath. Don't you agree?
yeah,
Right?
I do.
Because
Yes.
we breathe on a daily basis, we know how to do it. It's nothing new. So all you really have to do is just breathe. And I think intentional, you don't even have to know that, it's through the nose, mouth, like no technicalities, just in that moment, stop just for a second and just breathe.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you prescribe breath practices for people, or
Not formally, but depending on the client,
yeah.
oftentimes, yeah, that's usually the first step. And I have, meditations, YouTube Reiki guided healing stuff
Oh,
that
yes,
you
I have to
can,
make sure that
yeah.
I share your YouTube channel with
Yes,
people.
please.
What was your goal again?
Uh, oh, well,
You're trying to get how many
I'm going to say 1 million subscribers, and that's going to come sooner than
by
I
the end of
think.
this year?
But end of this year, 5,000.
It's totally
Yes.
doable. Look at Yoga with Adrienne. She's got so many subscribers.
Mm.
Do you know Yoga with Adrienne?
No, no.
She's very sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, she does yoga on YouTube, and she's been doing it for, I think, 10 years.
Oh,
They're very
wow.
sweet little practices, like, some of them are longer, some of them are shorter, and, of course, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's ways to get more, but, yeah, she, I'm pretty sure, has over 1,000,000 subscribers. It's totally doable,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
yoga. So, Reiki,
Wow.
let's throw up some Reiki, all the healing things. Let's get all the healing things with millions of subscribers, because,
I
um,
know.
and you can tell me how you feel about this. I feel like if people they are taking, this is where the back to me comes from. If you're taking care of yourself, and if you are well and your energy is well managed, then you can give and take
Yes.
care of. So it ripples outwards. So if I'm in a bad mood and I'm snippy to um, the barista at Starbucks, and then they're
Mm-hmm.
snippy, although they're paid to be happy even when they're not. But if they're crabby to the next person, then they're crabby, and it's just like crab,
Yeah.
crab, crab all the way down. But if I go out of my way and I'm feeling really good and I just say, "Hey," talk to a random person on the street, "I really like your hat." Someone
Yeah.
said that to me one day. I was walking down the street. Someone said, "I really like your hat." And I was so happy for the rest of the day just because he liked my hat. You know? If people
Yeah.
can help other people lift, then it just kind of sparkles outwards.
Yes.
So I think 1 million subscribers would just imagine the sparkle that could create out into the world,
Exactly.
right?
And you've like described it exactly, kind of our, big goal is for our Reiki association. And that's exactly what I say to people. Like I say, I want to be that person who, when I walk into the room, will turn heads because of the energy. Like they don't even see me, but for some reason, the energy has, rippled and touched them. They're like, oh my, what just happened? What is this beautiful energy? So if everybody has that, the positive energy will just hug everybody, right?
Right? Oh
Um,
my gosh. I have a perfect example of that, and people will probably be able to relate to this one. So
mhm,
I was in northern India, and we've actually, I started out over in Bodh Gaya, and a monk there, I was doing a silent retreat, and a monk told us that the Dalai Lama was going to be at his residence. It was not in his official calendar. So I emailed, and the office of His Holiness emailed me back. That had a really good little, whoo, I feel really good. The office of His Holiness emailed me. And this was when you had to go to an internet cafe. People didn't have smartphones.
mhm.
So we traveled all the way back across India to the residence of the Dalai Lama. And we stood in line. We paid our 5 rupees. We got our ticket to get in. And there was probably only 200 Westerners there, and the rest of them were monks. He was doing a special teaching for, I want to say, the Japanese monks had come over to learn the Flower Garland Sutra. He had a special little group that he was
Mhm.
teaching, and then we were allowed to sit to the outside with our little transistor radios listening to the translation. But when he came across, so we were all in the temple, and he
Mhm.
crosses his courtyard and he comes up the steps. And as soon as he started coming up the steps, you could feel the energy rising in this
Oh my
crowd. There
gosh.
was only a couple hundred people. I almost fell down. Like I was like, "Oh, too much, too much, too much." I was like, ah. Because there was Tibetan people there was
Mhm.
monks there, and there was a few hundred of us Westerners, and it was just like you could feel it lifting, lifting, lifting. And I know part of it was the people who love him so much, their
Mhm.
energy was going up, and then
Yeah.
he's coming up, and I was just like, "Oh gosh, I gotta sit down." Right?
Wow.
And
Oh my goodness.
we spent 5 days in a row, we went to the temple to listen. And the man,
Wow.
he tells the funniest jokes, like, he's hilarious. But yeah, that is like a really, like, people could relate to that kind of
Mhm.
like, also telling someone they have a nice hat. If someone tells you you have a nice hat,
I
it'll lift you up.
know.
It will lift you up, right?
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
it's hard to share. Like, he is in a different plane of,
Yeah.
energy, that man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about that guy. But for our regular people, if you just keep, like you call it, the cup, if you keep your cup
Mhm.
full enough to share with other people, right?
Exactly.
Then your cup won't empty. Like, I
Yes.
find that if you share what you have, if you're keeping yourself topped up and you sharing what you have, it actually fills you back up faster,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
It's
definitely.
like there's the flow. My Reiki teacher called it, I was the conduit. You're not
Mhm.
using your energy, you're the conduit for
No,
the energy. It's like coming in and out. I'm just sharing it,
exactly.
and it fills you up
Exactly.
as it passes by, right?
Yes, yes, yes. That's a great thing about Reiki that, you don't deplete yourself by giving.
Right?
Yeah, that's like, yeah. And the more you have, yeah, the more you get.
Which is so, and I feel like it's more important. I mean, I've always felt like it was important. I mean, I think we might have done our Reiki training around the same time. Did we talk about
Yeah,
this before? I feel like we might have done it.
I don't know.
I my
I,
certificate is actually hanging on my wall in my other office, so I can't even look at it. But yeah, because it wasn't very long. I've been in
mhm,
RMT for 13 years, and it was just shortly after I got my RMT, so probably around the same time.
mhm,
And I've always felt like um, it's important to give and help people.
mhm,
But I know that there's also a lot of people give from their own energy, and then
yeah,
they end up so depleted and burnt out. Like we talk about caregivers, like caregivers
Yeah.
are burning out. And people who also, what was that book a long time ago? Women Who Give Too Much. Like, it's
I can't remember.
one of those random titles. It might have been
Hmm.
like from the 70s or 80s. I can't remember. It was, women who give too much, because women are often in the role of caregiver, right?
That's right.
So they're already in the mode of giving. And, the mother who would sacrifice herself to save her child, that we've already got that mentality of, I need to
Hmm.
give until I drop. But I don't think that is healthy for the person you're giving to or for yourself.
No, no.
So you end up both depleted, which is not
Yeah,
what we want. We want
no.
people to rise and be
That's
healthy.
that's why the Reiki practice is first says, heal yourself. So there's like three stages: the Reiki level 1, 2, 3 that you can learn. And level 1 is really the focus is you, me. I have to fill my cup first. You can, of course, when you learn run, you can heal others or put your hands on others. But really, the focus is to fill your own cup, and that's the reason why, right?
And the Reiki one is when you learn how to do, like, I'm trying to remember the order of
A self
the
healing
self-healing,
practice,
right?
yes. And that's kind of the first time your antenna is adjusted to
Right.
the energy of the universe, so that
My
anytime you
satellite
want to,
dish. I
yeah,
need it.
yeah.
I need bigger than an antenna. I need a satellite dish.
So yeah,
And how long, I'm trying to remember, how long does that training take?
it depends. With us, it's a 1 day training. But that's just the beginning.
Right, I
uh,
know.
right? But that's again another good thing about, I would say, Reiki practice versus other energy practices, because with Reiki, on that 1 day attunement, 1 day learning, you're able to flow. The Reiki begins to flow through your hands, so you don't have to like go through number of years of training to be able to be. But the only difference then is with the person who has learned today, the flow is a trickle, versus person who's been practicing for 10 years, the flow is more like a big gush coming
Right,
down.
right, right.
Yeah.
And everybody will be different, I guess, on how long it takes them to really,
um,
I don't know a good word, like turn up their volume maybe? Turn up
yeah,
their
I
flow?
yes, it's how often you practice, and it's all about self growth, about understanding I come first and not from a selfish place.
Right.
uh
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why sometimes when I say back to me and then I put in brackets you.
Yeah.
Right.
And I always say me first, me first.
Well, and
That's
we
good.
we hear that so many times, like, it's cliche, but it's like, on the airplane, put on your mask
Exactly.
first, and,
Hmm.
um, and in the West, like, I don't know if this is true in India, like, when I was a little kid, my grandparents were British, they always said, "It's not polite to take before you give," because it's like, you always have to serve the guests
Oh,
first, and
yeah.
you always have to, offer before you take for yourself, and that's kind of, it's subtle, and it's not related to energy, but it is how we are programmed from little kids, right?
Yes, I tell that to my kids today. Like, I say, oh my gosh, first serve your kids, first serve the elders. I'm going to think about that. There is a
Right?
place, but there is a place for that, of course.
But it's
Um,
being
but
conscious of, like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
choosing this right now because, is it social norms, or is it, you know, is it for elders? Is it, respect, or am
yeah,
I giving it because I think I that sometimes that people just don't feel like they're deserving of it. They're like, "No, you take it. I don't deserve it," right?
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But it is
And
interesting.
yeah, that's true.
I
Yes,
was thinking about that one the other day. Like, subtle things that we learn as little kids that infiltrate
yeah,
how we believe in things,
that's right.
right?
Yeah.
Like, even I was listening to something where they said, "Don't tell anybody your wish, it won't come true." And her feeling is,
Oh
"You
my
have to tell
gosh.
everybody so that they know, so they can help you make it come true."
Exactly. Yeah. Now I get that.
Right?
But yes, I grew up in that, like, anything good you wanted to happen,
Don't
keep it to
tell
yourself. I know,
anybody.
like the evil eye, and I don't know. It's
Like, they
okay.
think,
I'm going to repel all that.
yeah, they think the devil is, like, sitting right here trying to get you. Psh, psh, psh,
Yeah,
psh.
yeah. Well, in those days, there might have been, some truth to whatever, but it doesn't hold true today. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can adjust the way we do things with the current
Yeah.
world.
And that's
We
another thing I think that's really important to to ride the wave of the current times, uh,
Yes.
right? Because time is the only constant in our life.
We haven't figured out
Actually,
how to manipulate.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah, change is the
Change
only
is
constant in
constant.
life.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say.
This back to the Dalai Lama for just a second.
Hmm.
One day he
Yeah.
blew my mind. He said, Everything is impermanent,
Hmm.
including impermanence."
But
And I went, "What?" I still haven't figured that one out. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. But it's true. I mean, the world always goes up and down. Like, the world goes
Hmm.
up and down, the stock market goes up and down, people go up
Right.
and down, life goes up and down. So, finding ways to help you, like, you can never be completely even, right? Or,
No.
I mean, I know bodies are always working for homeostasis, and it's not, I don't think it's humanly possible. But finding ways so that you are can be upward, like an upward spiral versus crashing down.
Yeah. Yes.
So do you recommend for people if they only want it for themselves, do you recommend that they continue on to the other levels, or maybe you can explain what the levels are?
Yeah, but so level one is basically to heal myself, to be able to fill my cup, and it's the first ever that you're connected with Reiki, and it starts to flow. Level two is learning about how to heal others and sending Reiki across space,
Mm,
and that's really fun. And level three is really being the Reiki yourself, becoming the light, and to be able to um, do that ripple effect and hug, I guess, people with your Reiki energy without they even knowing.
right.
So essentially, really, level one is more than enough. But then, the more you get into it, you feel like, oh my gosh, there's more? I think I want to know more. And what? I can send Reiki across time. I need to learn. And then you learn symbols and mantras in level two. So it just makes the practice a little bit more fun and
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah.
I remember trying to learn the distance Reiki symbol. I had to write it over and over and over and
Yeah.
over because I don't speak Japanese.
But they're symbols.
Yes, I know, I know. I still had a
Yeah.
very logical brain back then. I was
Hmm.
still, I was, a freshly recovering accountant.
Okay.
And I still have an accounting brain. I mean, it's a very valuable brain to have, but,
Yeah, I think so.
you know,
Yeah.
but it was, and I see, I actually haven't taken level 3. It's interesting that you present it that way because my logical accounting brain thought level 3 was if I want to go and teach people how to do Reiki, that would be the only reason I would take it.
Hmm. Oh,
And and that's different than what you've just told me.
S- So yeah, so with the Reiki, with Usui Reiki. So again, I'm just going to go back and talk about
Yeah.
a bit of Reiki. The
Yeah.
word Reiki, I said, is the energy of the universe, right? So the Reiki that I teach is called Usui Reiki, that originated in Japan about 100 years ago. But because the word Reiki means energy of the universe, there are other practices that use the word Reiki, but could be a little bit different from Usui Reiki.
Oh,
They could have been from somewhere else, or they have been built upon Usui Reiki and added more symbols, or just expanded, and things like that. Um, and then another difference is that when Reiki kind of died in Japan in World War II, but luckily just before that it had traveled to Hawaii, and then from there it spread to the world. So the traditional Usui Reiki's core principle was more Reiki was to reach that ultimate peace of mind, to find the best version of you, kind of a thing. But when it traveled to the West, that was,
samadhi?
well, yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
um, and so when it traveled to the West, that part was forgotten. And in the West, it got
Oh,
more known as the physical healing modality, where you don't even have to touch. So, but originally it was more touch, but in the Western, we're like, oh my gosh, you don't even have to touch and you can heal. Got bigger.
right.
So sometimes, the teachers, here are more, I think, focused on that physical being. But the longer you are in the Reiki practice, because it's a spiritual practice, you realize it yourself. And I do
Right.
find that teachers who've been practicing for a long, long time kind of just know that inherently.
Right.
So yeah,
Spiritual, but not religious. It's more
no,
like,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
So I only say that because I've been teaching yoga for 18 years, and I know that sometimes you have to throw in that yoga is not a
Yes.
religion.
No, no,
Yoga is not a
absolutely. Yeah.
religion. And
Yeah.
I threw in samadhi because I'm like, oh, that sounds a lot like, you're trying to work through the levels of yoga to reach the ultimate, which
Mm-hmm.
is samadhi, right?
Mm-hmm.
That ultimate place of
Yeah.
serenity and um,
Yeah.
everything is fabulous and unicorns and rainbows. But
You're right. Yeah.
and yeah, it
So
is interesting because some that kind of happened to yoga as well, right? When it came to the West,
yeah.
it came as power yoga, well,
Mm-hmm.
Ashtanga yoga, and people thought that was the only thing, and it was like up, down, power, 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 and they lost. I feel like they lost, and it's still a little bit lost. The Actually, it's not just for the physical body aspect, right? It's a
Yeah.
lot more than that. And yes, you might get a yoga butt, but that's not why you're doing it,
No.
right?
So I'm Indian, but I grew up in Japan. So my concept of yoga is what you're saying from the Western. So I said, I can't do yoga. I'm not flexible. So
Oh
I
my
never,
gosh.
yeah, I never like until recently when I did the Ayurveda course, when they, then I like, oh my gosh, of course. Yoga is like, it's all about the breath. And yoga is really about the mind, and Ayurveda is more about your physical body.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. I can't believe, yeah. So you speak Japanese too?
Yes, yes, I
Oh
do.
my
Yeah.
God. You're so talented. Like it's
Oh no.
languages are hard. Um, but yeah, it's so like yoga is became it's I mean, it shifts around, but
Yeah.
it became very much like the just the physicality. And for me, yoga is like it's the mind, but it's keeping the mind and the body together,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And letting that energy move.
Mhm.
And the mind's not in charge, the body's not in charge, they're partners. And
Mhm.
the bridge is the breath. So for the style that I teach, movement doesn't start with the muscles, the movement starts with the breath. And when the breath moves, the body can move, right?
Yes. Oh,
So
I like that.
yeah. So that's my little yoga shtick.
Mm.
And I mean, I've studied so many different kinds of yoga. So when people ask me what kind of yoga I teach, I say, I
It's
don't
my
know.
kind.
Yeah,
No, no, it's my
I
kind,
don't know.
right?
I teach other yoga. And I do
Oh,
feel the difference afterwards. Like it's interesting after I teach something, even so I teach a yoga and Tai Chi fusion class. After, if, no matter how I feel going in, when I come out, I'm like, oh, you can feel
yeah.
that energy has gone, right?
Yeah, I feel the same way with the Reiki.
With the Reiki side. So
Yeah.
there's ways to lift your energy.
Mhm.
I'm thinking I've got to make a list of all the things you can do to lift your energy and share it with the world.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, I recorded something the other day where I'm like, I am an ideas doula. But ideas just flow into my head so fast. I can't do them all. I can't do all the doings. So if you ever need ideas, call me because they just start coming out.
Okay.
So how are you able to have run courses right now? Are you locked down? Are you open?
I'm open. I'm open. I'm absolutely open. And yes, you did ask me about
Oh
virtual
yeah,
or
yeah,
in person. So the teaching has to be done in person. And that's the Canadian Reiki Association and Japan Reiki Association have decided that we'll, stick to the traditional way of doing things. There are teachers out there who will give you a virtual attunement and teach you virtually. But I do feel, and I have actually had students come back who have done it virtually, and they said, no, I think we need to come back in person.
yeah.
Um,
There is a difference.
there is a difference, yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, it's energy. I can do the attunement virtually, but it just to have a lasting and really that experience, it's different.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Well, and I'm thinking, so I had my own yoga studio for 10 years and I taught in person. and I
Hmm.
still teach in person, but out up north. But now for the last at least 5 years, I've been teaching only online, and it works fine. But
Hmm.
I feel like I don't know. You can't, when you're meditating as a group, the energy can just
Hmm.
feels different than when you're meditating alone. So I find like
Yes.
I can still sense them there, and I can still sense them moving and getting what they need. But sometimes I'm like, we could have supercharged that if we were all in the same room,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I suppose yes.
And I know not right now we can't safely, but it's, my fantasy life down the road. I have a friend who
Yeah.
said COVID will be over in 2025, and I thought, 2025? What do you mean 2025? Watch, he's
Yeah.
probably right. He's a little bit connected to the universe. So s
Yeah. Yeah.
so how often are you running workshops?
Reiki classes I usually have once a month.
Oh,
I
wow.
have scheduled January, February, level 1, level 2. Level 3 is maybe once in 3 months. I think I've got something for March for level 3, maybe Heather.
I might even go back and do 1 and 2 again. I mean,
Sure.
I always
Yeah.
feel like when I go back and read, because 'cause I've taken multiple yoga teacher trainings, even, like,
Mm,
from the beginning. I'm like, "I'll just go take a level 1 again." Because every
okay.
time I take it, I'm in a different place, and I have
Yes.
a different accumulation, and I go, "Oh, I never
Yes.
thought of that." Even if it's something I've heard a million times,
Yes.
you get a
Absolutely.
different experience of it. So
Yes.
I don't mind taking things over again just to get something new, because I
Yeah.
always get something new. I might not take, like traditional school math class over again. I'm like, I understand 1 plus 1, but that experiential learning where it's
Yeah.
different things. I like going back and taking more of those.
Yeah.
I'm also an education junkie, as my friends will tell you. A course? What? A course?
Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's amazing that you feel like, no, but I was paying attention, but how did I miss that? Even,
Yeah.
the same course, like you go back and listen to the recording,
Yes.
how? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Exactly. It's like, did they say that when I was there the first time? Did someone manipulate this recording?
yeah.
Did I just transverse time?
Uh, really. So yeah, so
Yes.
that's one thing. And the other thing actually, you said meditation. So I do actually have a virtual Reiki self-healing group that I run on Wednesdays.
I think I just
So
saw you post that recently, right?
okay, maybe yeah. So yeah, the next January 5th it starts, and this time I think it's 9 sessions, and the theme is focus. And you don't
Okay.
have to be, yeah, you don't have to be a Reiki practitioner, but if you just feel like you need to relax, because I am actually sending distance Reiki, and the group energy is different.
Right.
So it's different from when you're doing it all by yourself. Yeah, participants have said that it's different.
And is that the Reiki Healing Circle? Is
Yes,
that what you're
it's
calling
called,
it? Yeah.
yes, Wellness Reiki Circle.
Wellness Reiki Circle. So I'm going to
Mhm.
post that in the comments, to make
Okay,
sure that people know where to
thank
find
you.
it. And I'm going to put in your website and your
Yeah,
YouTube channel.
thank you. And I actually have one more thing
Yeah.
that's really exciting. Um, I made a huge purchase. Um, so I have a place for a retreat.
No way. Live
Eh,
retreat.
yeah, it's we can do forest bathing, and we can do a liberant meditation with Reiki healing, and I don't know, your imagination is the limit.
That's
And I'm planning,
amazing.
yeah, in August. So yeah,
Are the details on your website yet?
no, nothing yet. It's still all in my head, but I'm just saying because
Put it on paper.
yeah, yes,
That's my
yes.
manifesting tool, putting it on paper.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you my book. Where's my manifesting book? This is the book that I use to write things down.
I like that.
Let's go on an adventure
Oh,
together. And there's a lot of stuff in here.
and so when I went for a retreat, you know, she gave
Oh,
me a jar and put stuff in it. This was 2, 3 before COVID, right?
yeah.
And I did realize I was gonna post this, but I'm gonna do this. And I did say, space for Japan Reiki Studio and the association, which now has kind of,
Come true.
yes.
Congratulations. That's amazing. That's so
Yeah,
exciting. And I love retreats too, by the way.
yeah.
So I spent a month at a retreat in southern India.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I saw someone post recently a meme like, if someone paid you $100,000, would you go into the woods for a month with no telephone and no internet and no
Yeah,
television? And I'm like, of course I
yeah,
would.
yeah, of
That's a big
course.
deal.
Yeah.
But for some people, I think that would be like, being sent to jail. Be like,
Yeah,
no, I'm fine. See
yeah,
you in a month. you know,
absolutely.
right? So that's super exciting. Like you have so much going on. So you have your there, and there are still treatments going on, right?
Of
So
course, yeah, treatments,
treatments
yeah.
going on,
Hmm.
and they can get distance treatments if they want.
Yes,
And you
absolutely.
have your courses going on in the
Hmm.
Wellness Reiki Circle and your
Exactly.
YouTube channel, and
Yes.
now the retreat center.
Yes.
That's amazing. Like the world is ready for this. I know they're ready for this. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
The energy is just flying.
Oh.
Was there okay, so before we head off,
Yeah.
was there anything else? Like, do you have a last thought for people? Something just to lift them
Yeah,
up a little bit?
I just hope that watching both Heather and I talk, we were able to give you that ripple effect and lift your energy. I think that's all I want. I'd like you to leave this smiling just a little more than uh,
Yeah,
before you came in.
and
That's all.
send that love out into the world, right?
Yes, yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay, thank you
All right.
so much for spending time with me. It was so good to talk to you.
Thank you. Same here.
And,
My pleasure.
yeah, and we'll talk again soon. I know we will.
Mhm.
All right, take care.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.